HaShem na'aseh v'natzliach, shiur Torah. Great to be in Miami in a special sukkah. Baruch HaShem is the special sukkah. Mehadrin of Mehadrin. It's mamash. Very impressive how you guys built a sukkah. Got all the tfanot, wood, everything. I think this is safer than my house. The sukkah, Baruch HaShem. So it's Baruch HaShem, very, very good. You know, we were talking about it last week, how there's a problem with Sukkot. A lot of people are buying these Sukkot. I have one of them, where it's the easy ones. They're like Legos in essence. It's these poles, you put them together, and the problem is that the traditional way that people have been using for years is putting the different fabric around it, which technically, according to the Gemara, in Masechet Sukkot, it says you can use technically anything for the tfanot, anything for the sides, as long as it doesn't move. As long as it doesn't move. But the problem is that they move. They move. If there's high wind, which sometimes there is in Florida, and they move, then it's not kosher. So a lot of people don't know this. I actually only found this out this year. And what happened, it's a little bit of a problematic issue as far as these tfanot. When they gave them the models, when they showed the model to Rav Ovadia, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, they showed him a model of the sukkah before they launched it to sell it. They showed him the model, but they showed him a small model. You know, you don't bring a whole sukkah. You bring a little, 1 foot by 1 foot sukkah, a little model you put on a table. And in the model, the strings don't move. So Rav Ovadia said, oh, it's no problem. And but then when they built it, later on they found out, hey, this is not the same thing. They move. In the model, they didn't move. Of course, in the model, it's inside a room. There's no wind. There's no nothing. It's not going to move. But that was just in the model. In a real size one, it moves. These strings move. So, but unfortunately, some of these manufacturers didn't go back and change it, and they already sold it. They already advertised it. And it's a little bit of a problem. In Israel, you see a lot of the Sukkot are just like this one, where people took it upon themselves to take pieces of wood or plastic or different things and make themselves new sides. For even if they use that same sukkah, that's easier to build, they use these same exact sides like you guys have over here. So Baruch Hashem, but you have the whole thing is made from wood, Baruch Hashem, and it's mamash beautiful. So, want to mamash tell you thank you for inviting me to this beautiful sukkah, first of all. So, Baruch Hashem. So we have the shiur tonight. We have another Pirkei Avot, 67, but obviously we have questions. And tomorrow night is Hoshana Rabbah. Hoshana Rabbah, in so many words, is the day that Hashem decides everything. Everything we prayed for. There was a judgment day, Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah. Oh, I see this camera is already giving problems already at the beginning of the shiur. We gave a chidush from Rabbi Ovadia and they're already giving a problem. Let's see, hold on a second. See if we can fix this way this time. Okay, I think you guys could see me now good. Right? It's not sideways? Somebody make a comment so I know it's not sideways anymore. Okay, can anybody see it on the phone?
I don't have any.
Okay, I think they would make comments if it's not sideways again. I think it's fine. Okay, so Hoshana Rabbah is the day that Hashem decides everything. On Baruch Hashem, thank you, Gary. We can see it's perfect. Baruch Hashem, good. All right, so I like this Facebook Live thing because it's people from all over the world can see the shiur, but they also give you live feedback. Hey, you're terrible. Hey, you're good. It's good. Gives you a rebuke right on the spot. Right on the spot. Hey, you're boring. It's good. Baruch Hashem. So I gotta study more for next time. Whatever it is, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, most of the time it's compliments. Okay, good. Baruch Hashem, good. Very good, very good. Okay, so on Rosh Hashanah we said Avinu Malkenu Rachem Aleinu. We said our Father, our King, have mercy on us. Lama, our Father, our King. Because our Father really always wants to give us the right. You say, oh, listen, you're my son, go, go. You're my daughter, I love you, go, go, go. But really, there's rules. There's rules to the system. There's rules. I said there's rules. Somebody says, Mechalel Shabbat, it says in the Torah, Mot Yumat, Chas v'Shalom. No, it's good, it's good. I see it on my own machine also. It's good.
It's not too close?
Oh, that's how you see me in the machine?
Yeah.
Oh, but on my machine you don't see it that close.
Oh, no?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Leave it. It's fine. By the time I redirect it, I'll lose a train of thought. It's fine. Most importantly, they listen. So, the Father, our Father in heaven, Hashem Yitbarach, really wants to give us everything. You want a car, he wants to give you a car. You want a Toyota, he wants to give you a Ferrari. He wants to give you everything. He wants to give you better than what you want for yourself. You want a house to live in, he wants to give you a castle. He wants to give it to you. But when Hashem Yitbarach created the Torah, 974 generations before he created the world, before he created mankind, in Gemara Masechet Chagiga, it says that Hashem created the Torah 974 generations before he created man, and he used black fire on white fire to write it. He inscribed it himself. That's why when you see a Sefer Torah now in the Beknesset, you see that always, every Sefer Torah, doesn't matter if it's Mashkenazim, Sfaradim, Yemenites, Litvish, doesn't make a difference who they are. Everybody uses, same thing. The scroll is white, and the ink is black. Always the same. Nobody's writing in pink. No one is writing in blue. No one is writing in green ink. If you look at all my letters, if I write people letters, it's always in green ink. I like green ink. So if I wrote a Torah scroll, if it was my opinion, I write a Torah scroll in the green ink. But not allowed. Why? Because it's supposed to commemorate how Hashem Yitbarach wrote the Torah scroll himself. He used black fire as the ink, on white fire as the background. So when he wrote the Torah, it wasn't just rules for us. It was also rules for him. Because he knew as our creator, he's our father. So he could do, really, he wants to, any father in the world that's a normal father doesn't want to give his kids everything. If he doesn't want to give them everything, he's not normal. I know, I see my daughter, she cries, I want to give her the world. Not just what she wants, but the world too on top of it, just in case. She wants a little toy, I want to give her the world and the toy. She wants spaghetti, I want to give her the world and spaghetti. Just in case she wants something, I want to give it to her. But if you're a good father, you can't give her everything. We're still in training. She's still training us to be good father, a good mother. The little daughter. We're in training. It's training. It takes a few years to train. By the time they grow up, you already know what to do. But anyway, so our Father really wants to give us everything. But he says, listen, that's not the way to do it. You can't just give your kids everything. Why? Because they end up becoming spoiled brats. They cause trouble, and they don't become really good people. So we have to give them rules. So Hashem says, I'm the father, but I'm also the king. The king has rules. So this Torah is a rule book, not only for us, but also for him. Meaning that he knows that there are certain things that he can give us, and there are certain things that he can't give us, based on his own rules. And since his signature is emet, meaning truth, he cannot violate his own law. Can't violate his own law. He could postpone it, he could delay it, but he can't violate it. So on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we say Avinu Malkenu, our Father, our King. Why our Father, our King? Our Father give us everything, but if in case the Father really can't, even though he wants to give it to us, go talk to the King. No, as the King you can do it. What do you mean as the King you can do it? As the King you could postpone the punishment that I really deserve and give me more time to do tshuva. As our Father, you want to give it up anyway. You want to say, listen, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, but I can't, because there's rules. But as the King, you're not going to say, no, it's okay. What you're going to say, I'll postpone it. I'll give you another year to do tshuva. And the Rambam says the Reshaim, unfortunately, they get right away judged death. Right away. There's no in between. Someone that's a mamash, a rasha, gets death penalty. And unfortunately, a rasha doesn't necessarily mean a mean person. Rasha doesn't necessarily mean an evil person. Doesn't mean that. It could be a wonderful person. Like this young girl that died that was my neighbor. I told you guys last lecture, my neighbor, 23, 24-year-old young cute kid. She, mamash, didn't have a bad bone in her body. But unfortunately, according to the rules of God, it was time to go. He has his own judgment. I don't judge anybody. The point being is that the Rambam says that if someone is really a Rasha, Hashem takes their life. But sometimes you see people that are evil. Not only evil, they're the worst people on earth. The Hitlers of the world, the thieves of the world, the murderers, the rapists, the pedophiles, wicked, wicked, wicked people. And they still have another year. They still have another year. I was reading Kohelet, the book of Ecclesiastes over Sukkot, and throughout the first 9 chapters, 12 chapters, first 9 chapters, Shlomo HaMelech is complaining. What is he complaining? This is not fair, this is not fair, this is not fair, this is not fair. What's not fair? He says there's sometimes you see a tzaddik gets punished. He has a miserable life. Sometimes you see a wicked person has a good life, or it looks like a good life. Sometimes you see the guy that's stealing, have money, the guy that's try to work, get a hard living, barely has money to survive, and so on and so forth. He says, and this looks evil. It looks evil, but it's not. He says, chapter 10, he says it's not evil. This is the deen of Shemaim. This is the way Hashem runs the world. And in the end, when you see the full picture, you see that Hashem runs the world in a perfect, precise way. There's always a reason for it. The Arizal, alav shalom, one of his students always asks questions about what happens when you see someone that's righteous and he's suffering, and someone that's wicked is prospering. How could it be? And he said, you know what? Go to the forest and stand by a specific tree. Stand by there, don't say anything, make sure no one sees you, and just stand there the whole day. At the end of the day, come back to me. The rabbi says, we do. So the student goes, he hides in the bushes, and he's looking at the tree all day. Shortly after, he sees a guy come to the tree, relax by the tree. Under the shade of the tree, it's very hot. Takes a drink, relaxes, and he picks up and he leaves. But before he leaves, he drops his wallet, full of money. In those days, it wasn't a wallet like today that's 1 inch by 1 inch. In those days, it was a bag. His bag full of money. Shortly after, another guy comes, hangs out by the shade. He sees this bag full of money. Well, you see a bag full of money, you gonna stay there? No. What do? You pick it up, you go, just in case the owner comes back. There's no owner. There's nobody. There's no ID. He takes the money. He leaves. Shortly after, a third guy comes. Third guy comes, and he's by the shade. The original guy, the first guy that lost the wallet, comes back. The original guy, the first guy, yeah, there's 3 seats over here. The original guy comes back, and he goes to the guy, hey, listen, I just left a little while ago, and I left my bag full of money over here. Give me the bag. And he says, there's no bag here. I'm here only for the last 15, 20 minutes. There's no bag of money. He goes, listen, don't lie to me. I left a bag full of money here. Give me the money. He goes, there's no money. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no money. The guy that lost his money gets angry, takes a knife, stabs him, and kills him. And leaves. Leaves the body to die and leaves. So the student of the Arizal goes to the rabbi. He says, Kvod Harav, how can this be justice? Do you know what happened? The Arizal says, I will tell you what happened. I wasn't there, but I'll tell you what happened. First guy came there, and he dropped his wallet. Dropped the bag full of money. Second guy picked it, left, took the money with the reward. Third guy got murdered for something he didn't do. He goes, yeah, exactly, Kvod Harav. Why? What kind of justice is this? He says the justice is from Shamayim. What you don't know is what happened in the previous Gilgul. In the previous life, these three people were also part of the same case. The first guy that lost the money, the second guy that found the money, and the third guy that murdered. All three of them were part of the same case. The first guy, the guy that actually lost the money, he is the guy that found the money in the past and didn't return it. He found money, but he knew he took money from another guy, stole money from another guy, and when it came to the court case, he knew the judge. He told the judge, listen, judge, I'll give you a part of the money. Don't say anything. The judge took the bribe. So the first guy that lost the money, he's the guy that stole the money originally. The second guy that found the money, nothing happened to him, he's the guy they stole from. Now, this guy that lost the money, he had to come back in a reincarnation to return the money that he lost to the guy that he stole from. So the student says to the Rizal, okay, no problem. The guy that stole had to come back in a reincarnation to return the money that he stole, because no one can get to Gan Eden with blood on their hands, meaning if they stole money. But who's the guy that murdered? He goes, oh, that's the judge. The judge is the one that had to get murdered. Why? Because when you go against Torah, you judge against the Torah, death penalty. Death penalty. So Shlomo Melech, in the first 10 chapters of the book of Kohelet, of Ecclesiastes, is telling us it looks unfair. Everything looks unfair. But it's not. It's very fair. It's a righteous judge. But this righteous judge has rules. And he says, listen, as your father want to give you everything, I want to give you everything, but I can't because I have rules. If I didn't have rules, it would be Sodom and Gomorrah. On the other hand, because I'm your father, I can act as the king whenever I want. And as the king, I can decide to postpone the punishment. I don't have to punish you now. I can punish you down the road. I'll give you another year. I'll give you another year. I'll give you more time. That's what we say, Avinu Malkenu. We say, our father, king. So, on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we say, please judge us favorably. If it didn't work out on Rosh Hashanah, we say it on Yom Kippur as the appeal. But then the final judgment is made on Hoshana Rabbah, on the 7th day of Sukkot, which is tomorrow night. And in order for us to maybe try our best to tilt the judgment in our favor, do whatever we can. It's the last shot. We had a judgment already. We had an appeal already. But just in case you could like wink at the judge or send him a bag of roses or chocolates or something. Do something. Just like maybe. If we're like 50-50, maybe we could take it to 51 positive. What do? We study Torah all night. The men study Torah all night. It's a minhag. It's not an obligation. But it's a very popular minhag where the men come to Bekneset or Bet Midrash and they study all night. Usually start around, sometime 10, 11 o'clock at night, and they study all the way until the next morning, until Shachrit. You pray Shachrit, and then you go home and sleep for a few hours. You don't sleep till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You sleep for a few hours, and you go on with your day. People think that you go to Bekneset, you do Shachrit, you get home, let's say, at 8:30, and then you sleep till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. No. Sleep a few hours, sleep whatever, 2, 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, but don't sleep till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It kills you all day. Do something productive. So now, many people say, listen, it's a very, very nice minhag. They have the same minhag in Shavuot. We study all night on Shavuot and other times. But I can't do it because I'm working. I can't do it because I'm working. I have work tomorrow. So now, there's a few things we need to learn from this Mishnah. This Mishnah connects to it. But the first thing we should know, in regards to working on Chol Hamoed, in general, you're not allowed to work on Chol Hamoed unless you're going to lose money. If it's a matter of losing profit, you're not allowed to work. If it's a matter of losing money, losing principal, then you're allowed to work. What's the difference? Many people are like, yeah, if I don't go to work, I'm not going to get my paycheck. That's not considered losing money. That's considered losing a profit. For that, you're not allowed to work. But if, let's say, for example, if you don't go to work, you're going to lose out on a deal, or you're going to lose out on a contract, or you're going to get fired, then you're allowed to work. Then you're allowed to work. But people treat the Chol Hamoed like it's every day, like it's a regular day, and it's not. To such an extent that the Gemara says anyone that works on Chol Hamoed and mistreats Chol Hamoed, treats Chol Hamoed like a regular day, has no olam haba, has no share of the world to come. People think that Chol Hamoed is no big deal. It's another day. Go work, go do this. You're allowed to go enjoy yourself. You're allowed to go hang out with the family, eat, drink, barbecue, everything. But work you're not allowed. Why? It's technically a moed. It's technically still a holiday. So you're not allowed to go work. Just that you're allowed to do certain things. It's not regular day. If you treat it like a regular day, Chazal says, you lose your olam haba. We see that in the Gemara, in the Shulchan Aruch, in the Zohar, in the 5 books of Moses, we see that certain things, they don't always make sense logically to us, but it seems that on small things, somebody can lose their olam haba just like that. Mamash, just like that. David HaMelech, alav shalom, said to Hashem, Hashem, I have no doubt, he said in Tehillim, I have no doubt that you're going to judge the righteous, the tzaddikim, with an enormous amount of reward in olam haba. No doubt in my mind that the tzaddikim have a great reward that's innumerable. You can't count it in olam haba. I just don't know if I'm one of them. I don't know if I have olam haba. David HaMelech, who's the 4th pillar of the Merkava that carries the Shechina, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, David HaMelech. Mashiach comes from David HaMelech. David HaMelech comes from a convert, Ruth the Moaviyah. Shlomo HaMelech, his son, eventually to now, Mashiach going to come from him. David HaMelech, he says, I don't know if I have olam haba. I don't know if I'm a tzaddik. I don't know. He wrote Tehillim. Sefer Tehillim. Our entire Sidur is full of Tehillim. Anyone is in trouble, they read Tehillim. Anyone is sick, they need Tehillim. Anyone has a court case, Tehillim. Anyone has a headache, Tehillim. Anyone upset, Tehillim. Anyone wants to get uplifted, Tehillim. Anything you want to do, Tehillim. Even the Goyim read Tehillim. David HaMelech wrote Tehillim. He says, I don't know if I have olam haba. I don't know. I don't know if I'm tzaddik. Why does David HaMelech have olam haba? Why does he have olam haba? Because he wasn't sure if he has olam haba. That's why he has olam haba. But in the same generation as David HaMelech, Harav Nissim again, alav shalom, says in Drasha, in the same generation, there was 2 Gdolei Ador, heads of the Sanhedrin, heads of the court, the biggest rabbis in the world, Doeg and Ahithophel. These are not like some idiots, murderers. These are people that were heads of Sanhedrin, meaning to be in the Sanhedrin, you have to be able to speak 70 languages. 70 languages. In America, it's considered a skill set if you speak 2 languages. It's considered, you're like, wow, you speak Spanish too. ¿Por qué? Wow, sí. It's like, what do I know? Siete. I know 7. What do I know? You know siete. I know siete. I know disculpa. What do you know? Nothing. You think somebody speaks Spanish, you put a resume. Oh, he speaks Spanish. Wow. Very good. That's what? He speaks 2 languages barely, the guy. Sanhedrin, 70 languages. 70 languages. And people always say, oh, no, Rambam, I don't agree with them. Rabbi Akiva, no, I don't agree with them. Do you know that if you are in a generation, if you are big chacham, and you are in a generation of the Rambam, it's not even a generation of Rabbi Akiva. Generation of Rambam is 900 years ago. If you're big chacham, you wouldn't even be a stool that Rambam would sit on. A stool, big chacham, a little chair to sit on, it wouldn't be enough. Maybe a light bulb, maybe nothing. But like, no, I don't agree with Rabbi Akiva. I don't think he understands what he's talking about. I'm not sure if Rashi is right over here. I'm not sure. People always. So now, in a generation of David HaMelech, Kodesh Kodashim, who was not sure if he has Olam Haba. Was not sure. He wrote Sefer Tehillim, wasn't sure if he has Olam Haba. But the same generation, Ahithophel and Doeg and Ahithophel, heads of the Sanhedrin, top rabbis in the world. The Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin says, have no Olam Haba. Have no share of the world to come. Doeg and Ahithophel and Ahithophel, no Olam Haba. Well, how would it start? Lashon Hara. No Olam Haba. Why does Doeg and Ahithophel and Ahithophel, why they didn't do tefillin? Rabbeinu Tam, Rashi, every day, do tefillin. Shachrit, Mincha, Arvit, tefillin, tefillot, sukkah. You think they didn't build a sukkah? They built a sukkah. They had lulav mehudar. A trog this big. A trog they carried on their shoulder. You know, they say that Rabbi Akiva would carry his etrog on his shoulder. It was that big. Rabbi Akiva carries a etrog on his shoulder. A different part of the Gemara says that one of the tzaddikim would have a lulav the whole year. Not just on Sukkot. A lulav, he would carry it the whole year. He says it's special kedusha to carry the lulav the whole year. He would fight the Yetzer with the lulav. Amen. He would fight the Yetzer with the lulav. So they had Sukkot. They had Yom Kippur. They had Rosh Hashanah, Tefillin, Shabbat. Wait, they didn't keep Shabbat. Chas shalom. The heads of the Sanhedrin. Gemara says, no Olam Haba. No Olam Haba. Why no Olam Haba? Because they were sure they had Olam Haba. They were so sure they had Olam Haba, they lost their Olam Haba. So confident they have Olam Haba, they lost Olam Haba. Why? They said something they're not supposed to say. Finished. You know, there were a lot of people that hated David HaMelech. It's hard to understand why anybody would hate someone that Mashiach's coming from him. So they would bother him all the time. They would say, hey, David HaMelech, we have a question, because he was also a rabbi. He was a Gdol Ador. What's the deen for someone that goes with a married woman? What's the judgment in Shamayim? Someone goes with a married woman. He says it's chenek. They kill him with strangling him by hanging him, but he still has a share of the world to come. But someone that's malbin pnei chavero berabim has no olam haba. But someone that embarrasses another person in public has no olam haba. That's how you would answer them. But every day they'd answer him the same question. They don't care that he's saying that what they're doing, they're losing their olam haba. Why? Why they don't care? What, they're crazy? Why they don't care? Because in the Gemara, Masechet Shabbat, page 119, it says there is en adam roeh chova leatzmo. There's no person that sees the rebuke being relevant to himself. When I talk about Shabbat, the guy that's in Mechalel Shabbat that's in the room doesn't think he's talking to you. It's like, yeah, it's probably Mechalel Shabbat, miskenim. Why the Mechalel Shabbat? He thinks he's tzaddik. It's like, no, I keep Shabbat. What do you guys say? I keep Shabbat. He doesn't realize he's the Mechalel Shabbat I'm talking about. Or sometimes you talk about shalom bayit. You tell the guy, you know, somebody's in the room. As a lecturer, the advantage of getting to know your crowd is that you get to know different issues and you mention them in lectures, so you don't have to say it to the guy directly or to the woman directly. It's easier. They hear it in a lecture. It's more likely that it's going to succeed that way. Or you have siyata dishmaya, where HaShem helps you. He puts words in your mouth that are relevant to somebody specific. But if the person is like stonehead, he doesn't understand. You're talking about shalom bayit, shalom bayit, shalom bayit. He doesn't realize it's relevant to him. He thinks, yeah, these people probably have a lot of problems in their life. Wow, poor people. He doesn't realize the whole time it's him. I had a guy for months. He's telling me, I have shalom bayit problems. My wife is doing this, my wife is doing this, my wife is doing this, my wife is doing this. Now, I only know his version of the story. So I give him advice based on what I know. I tell him, listen, maybe you should tell her this, you should give her this, you should give her this, you give her this. Sure. Guy comes to you with an issue, you try to give him advice. That's what we do. One day, I talked to him a little more deep, and I let him talk. I just listen, I let him talk. Let it out, sometimes it's good, to mitzvah mamash, to let somebody just pour out their heart. Just let them talk. Doesn't matter what they say, just let them talk. They need to get something off their chest. So I let him talk. But as he's talking, I start uncovering things he didn't tell me before. All of a sudden, I realize the problem is not the wife. He's the problem. He's the shalom bayit problem, not the wife. And he tells me, oh yeah, I told my wife this, she did this, and I told her this. And I said to myself, honestly, it was such a big thing. I said, wait, hold on a second. Wait. Can you repeat that again? What did you just say? Yeah, I told her something like she had something bad with her body or something like that. I wanted to call 911. I wanted to call 911 on this guy just because of how stupid he is. Maybe he needs to go to a mental institution. I said, you said this to your wife? You said your wife has something wrong with her body? I wanted to call 911 on him. But the 911, they're going to tell me, listen, people do this all the time. I said, yeah, Hashem Hashem. I wanted to call 911 on him. I said, this guy's crazy. You belong in a mental institution. You're telling your wife, a woman, she's all heart. All heart. A woman is mamash 100% heart. When it's relevant to a husband, with the world, heart and brain. With the husband, only heart. There's no brain. It's mamash one heart, one big heart. You took a knife, a sword, maybe a machete too, a machine gun, started shooting at the heart. Is something wrong with you? I want to call 911 on him. Like, what's wrong with you? How could you say this to a woman? He goes, why, it's that bad? The tembel doesn't even know he's the problem. The whole time I'm thinking she's a rashayit. I'm thinking, what's wrong with this woman? This guy's such a nice guy. But everybody looks like a tzaddik. Until you find out the whole story. No one sees the problem was with himself. I had a guy send me a message today. I don't know this guy. He sends me a message and Chag Sameach, and he sends me some invite to some Chabad event or something like that in New York. I don't live in New York, obviously. I live here. So I don't know. I thought maybe he's holding the event. So in return, I sent him a Chag Sameach poster and an invite to the live shiur that we're going to have tomorrow night that he can watch on Facebook Live. He says, in return, instead of, this should be the end of the conversation or thank you, I don't know, end of the conversation really. He sends me back a return. I should teach you mussar. I should teach you mussar. I could teach you all this stuff. Instead of sending me an invitation, you should have said Chag Sameach, because I could teach you. So my reply, I'm not usually a guy that just, sometimes I have to respond. It's my nature. I have to have the last word. It's not good. It's not always good. So I say, you know what? Honestly, your ego is getting in the way of your vision, because the first thing I said is Chag Sameach. And I replied to you the same thing you did to me. But your ego is getting in the way of your vision. You're so upset that I invited you to a shiur, for whatever reason, I don't know what that means, but you're upset that I invited you to the shiur, that you don't want to, you're getting upset. But that's the thing, sometimes people don't realize that they're the problem. They are the problem. So, in the Sukkot, we have an opportunity to do everything possible to be v'samachta b'chagecha, to be happy during Sukkot, which is very, very hard. It's hot. A lot of people come. If you have one of those families in America, it's very, very common for people to invite people. In Israel, by the way, it's less common. It's less common. During the holidays, usually you have people over, but during the year in general, it's less common for people to come over other people's houses on Shabbat and just regular. It's less common in the religious world. Like here, it's very common for every Shabbat house, like every religious house in America, to have guests for Shabbat. Not because they're homeless or they're poor or anything, but just because people invite each other. It's very common behavior. It's not the mitzvah of hosting guests, because the mitzvah of hosting guests is hosting a guest that doesn't have another place to eat. That's the mitzvah. So when you're hosting your neighbor, your friend, your brother, your sister, whoever, it's not a mitzvah. It's a nice thing to do if you're enjoying it, but if they have food somewhere else, it's not a mitzvah. So in Israel, in the religious world, for the most part, people have their own family. That's it. They don't invite like their friends and their neighbors and stuff like that. It's very uncommon, especially in Yerushalayim where I was. But in America, it's very common to have guests. So in Sukkot, even more so in America, people invite a lot of people sometimes for Sukkot. And people come over and so on. So it's hard to be so happy when you got 15 people asking you questions. You have 15 people asking you questions, 20 people asking you questions. Oh, why'd you build the house this way? Why'd you build that? When'd you get the car? How many kids do you have? How old are you now? How much do you make a year? Is your wife working? Are you guys planning on having another baby? 500 questions. You feel like the guy's writing a story about you. Mamash, it's like a story. That's the reason why this year we just moved to a new house, still settling in. We decided, let's just me, the wife, and the 2 little babies. We decided this year to keep it calm. Every year we had people over. This year we decided to keep it calm. I said, you know what? I'll ask you questions, honey. I haven't seen you all year. Let me ask you a bunch of questions. My wife says, no, I have questions for you. So, listen, sometimes you need some peace and quiet. It's good to have peace and quiet. But sometimes you have guests. It's hard to be happy when people are asking you so many questions, and then the food doesn't come out warm, and it's hot, and then there's mosquitoes, and then there's a frog, and then there's this, and then all these different things. The Arizal says it's the hardest mitzvah in the Torah for him, to be happy on Sukkot. Hardest mitzvah. You're sleeping outside the whole week. It's not easy. So, we have to be happy. Now, if we weren't successful being happy, again, Hoshana Rabbah, another chance. Hoshana Rabbah is giving us a chance to be extra happy on Sukkot. Why? You're learning Torah the entire night. The entire night you're learning Torah. Torah, what is Torah supposed to do? Make you happy. Torah makes you happy. So you actually have a chance to fulfill this mitzvah. Hashem gives you another chance to fulfill this mitzvah. So if Torah is supposed to make you happy, how come people run away from Torah? Because they don't know what it is. They tell you, listen, I got to work tomorrow. I can't learn all night. I got to work tomorrow. So first and foremost, again, learn. If you're not going to lose your job, you're not going to lose principle, you're not allowed to work. It's mamash 100% a sin from the Torah to work on Chol Hamoed unless you're going to lose principle. This is alacha. This is not my chumrah or strict. This is Gemara. This is what it says. You want to work? Go work. Good luck to you. But it says in the Torah that someone can lose olam haba just like that. This is one of the things you can lose olam haba for. Disrespecting Chol Hamoed. Treating it like another day. And if you are so sure that you have olam haba, that's why I said the story of Ahithophel and Doeg and Ahithophel. They were bigger tzaddikim than you. They were heads of the Sanhedrin. They also were sure they had olam haba. They lost olam haba. Who has olam haba? David HaMelech, who wasn't sure if he's going to have olam haba. So that's why it says, Reshit chokhmah yirat Hashem. Or Ashrei Adam mefachet tamid. The beginning of wisdom is fear of the Almighty. Or in another verse it says, praiseworthy is the man who's always scared. Why he's always scared? Because now if he's always scared, he has a chance of getting olam haba. Because he's worried about olam haba. That's why he's scared. He's worried he's going to lose olam haba. He doesn't know. I mean, one sin, he can lose everything. He can do tshuva. But sometimes you make a sin and you don't know you made it. Like this guy, unless Hashem had mercy on him, He could have shalom bayit problems his whole life, thinking it's his wife's fault. The whole time it's his fault. You understand? So now, this Torah that Hashem Yitbarach gave us is a way for us to find out. Find out these answers. Find out if we have Olam Haba, or how to get it, how to be happy, how to be unhappy, how to be successful, and so on. Now, one of the most famous characters that every person in Judaism knows, especially Jewish mothers, is Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, you say it to next to some Sephardic women, they say Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, they start kissing their eyes, their lips, oh, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, they light candles. It's very, mamash, you go to Moroccan, Tripoli, anyone from the Middle East, you say Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, ooh, what? Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes is like, might as well say Mashiach, might as well David HaMelech, same thing. They light candles, mamash. Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes is very popular in that crowd. He should be popular around all of Am Yisrael. But Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes actually wrote this Mishnah. It says the following. Rabbi Meir Omer, Eve ממעט בעסק, ועסוק בתורה, והווה שפל רוח בפני כל אדם, ואם בטלת מן התורה, יש לך בטלים הרבה כנגדך. ואם עמלת בתורה, יש לו שכר הרבה ליתן לך. Translation, Rabbi Meir, referring to Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, says, limit your business activities and engage in Torah study. Be of humble spirit before every person. If you should neglect the study of Torah, you will have many excuses to neglect it. But if you labor for the Torah, He will have ample reward to give you. The literal translation is very, very simple. You could take it literally, and we could dig deep down into it. First and foremost, you have Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. This is one of the most famous Tanaim in all of the Torah. He is 4th generation Tana. He's one of the 5 students that Rabbi Akiva, after the horrendous event where in the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin, page 14a, talks about how 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva died in a short period of time right before Lag BaOmer. Rabbi Akiva had to restart. How you restart after losing 24,000 of Gdolei Ador, I don't know, but he knew he had to restart. And one of the 5 students was Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, meaning our entire oral Torah, he's one of the people it depends on. We don't have the Torah of the 24,000 students. We have the Torah of the 5 students and Rabbi Akiva. Much less. So, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes is one of those giants. And he's called Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, Rabbi Meir, the owner of miracles. Why? Because miracles were very common to him. One of the stories he says, I believe in Gemara Masechet Brachot, says that his wife, Bulia, she had a sister who got kidnapped. Got kidnapped by the Romans, or taken, whatever, by the Romans. And they took her to the prostitution house. Made her into a prostitute. And she says to Rabbi Meir, you have to do something. You have to go do something. Go save my sister. So Rabbi Meir went. He prayed to Hashem. He said, Hashem, if no one has touched her, she's still clean, make me a miracle that I'll be able to free her. If not, let it stand as your judgment, as what it is. Because in reality, she really was a tzaddik. The sister was a tzaddik, was a tzaddikah. She made one sin. She made one sin that Hashem sent her to get judged for. What was the sin? This is in Gemara Masechet Sotah. What was the sin? Anybody know what the sin was? Her father was a big tzaddik, Rabbi Chanina. Big, big tzaddik. Her mother was tzaddikah. Her sister, Bruria, Rabbi Meir Balanes's wife, tzaddikah, mentioned all over the Gemara, having debates. She knew Torah. She knew more than many of the sages even. Had an unfortunate end, but nonetheless, she was a big chachama, and her sister also was a tzaddikah. So why does she get such a big punishment? Hashem sends tzaddikah to a prostitution house. Become a prostitute. Hashem Yerachem. What kind of punishment is that? Why? Because one day she was walking around and a couple of goyim, a couple of Romans, saw her and they complimented the way she was walking. Not her fault. They complimented the way she was walking. So because they complimented the way she was walking, she took she took the compliment. She felt good about it. So she decided to walk a little nicer to get more attention. Hashem says, oh, you want attention of the goyim, of immodesty? No problem. I'll send you to a place. That's all you're going to get. Hashem Yerachem. For what? For walking, not for sleeping with one of them, chas v'shalom. Not for being with one of them. Not for wearing a mini skirt. Not for wearing no clothes. Not for that. For walking. For walking, Hashem Yerachem, for walking and trying to get attention. People say, oh, listen, you're too stringent. You talk about women's modesty too much. I'm like, what? Do you know what the Torah says about modesty? A tzadikah, her father was able to revive the dead. Her father was able to take a dead, make him alive. Someone dead, make him alive. Someone alive, make him dead. Her father was like that. Her sister, her mother, everybody was tzaddik. She was tzadikah too. Mother's clothes covered up the ears, sleeves, nothing, no problem. She wasn't wearing big, 30-inch heels. Tzadikah. She walked a little bit. After getting a compliment, Hashem says, that's a sin for you. It's a sin. Imagine what Hashem thinks of a woman that doesn't cover herself. Imagine what Hashem thinks of a woman that wears one of these short skirts or one of these long wigs or one of these tight clothes that's so tight you pretty much know exactly how she looks like naked. So Hashem sent her to a prostitution house. That was the punishment. It's Gemara. So Rabbi Meir goes, giant guard over there. He says, listen, Rabbi Meir pretends to be a customer. I'm looking. Okay, go look. Immediately he sees who she is, and she doesn't know it's him. So he says, yes, I'd like you. And she goes, I'm sorry, I can't. He goes, why I can't? I'll pay top dollar for you. No, I'm sorry, I can't. I'll pay top dollar for you. I'll pay double what you want. He goes, no, I'm sorry, it's my time of the month. It's my time of the month, and under no condition am I going to be with anybody in the time of the month. Rabbi Meir, no. Tzadikah is also chachama. Tzadikah is also wise. She probably tells this excuse to everybody. That means no one touched her. So he goes back to the bodyguard, to the security guard. And he says, listen, that one over there, the new one you have, I want to buy her. He goes, hey, buy her. The owner of the place will kill me. He goes, listen, here's a bag full of gold. Take it. He goes, doesn't matter how much gold you give me, they're going to kill me. I said, listen, don't worry, it's going to be okay. He goes, what, don't worry? How could I trust it's going to be okay? He goes, just say, anyone comes next to you, just say, Elah de Rabbi Meir aneni. The God of Rabbi Meir, answer me. Not Rabbi Meir, answer me, chas v'shalom. The God of Rabbi Meir. Because Rabbi Meir has merits in Shamayim. Some people, what do they say? Rabbi Meir, answer me. They make Rabbi Meir into an idol. No, it's Elah de Rabbi Meir. The God of Rabbi Meir, answer me, because Rabbi Meir has merits. Say, the God of Rabbi Meir, answer me, and don't worry, everything's going to be okay. He goes, how do I know it's going to work? He says, okay, you know that vicious hyena you have over there, or dog, or whatever you have over there, that's about to kill whatever he sees? He goes, release him. He goes, release him. He's going to kill you in 2 seconds. He's going to kill you. Giant dog. It's a lion. He's going to kill you. He goes, release him. Don't worry. Guy says, listen, no insurance. He releases him. The dog runs and attacks to attack Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says, the God of Rabbi Meir, aneni, answer me. Little dog becomes a little puppy. Starts to become his best friend. Nothing, no, don't say it, nothing. Puppy. Why? Because Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes has merits. So from that moment on, they called Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. Rabbi Meir the miracle worker. Why? There was a lion over there, kills everything in sight, including the owner. All of a sudden becomes puppy. Why? Rabbi Meir has merits. Torah merits. But people need to know, it's not Rabbi Meir that makes the miracles. It's HaShem makes the miracles. The God of Rabbi Meir. Very important to know, there's a lot of idol worship, unfortunately, in everywhere, including Judaism today, if we don't know how to translate things correctly. So Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes is the one giving us this Mishnah. Rabbi Meir was highly praised by his students. Who were his students? One of them was Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rebbe HaKadosh. Rebbe, who's Rebbe? Rebbe is the one that put this Mishnah together. The entire Mishnah we have, all of the Mishnah that the Gemara is based on, it's before the Gemara, 2,500 years ago, Mishnah. Who wrote it? Rebbe. Who's his teacher? Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. What did Rebbe say about Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes? He says, I contribute all of my wisdom in Torah to the fact that I was able to see the back of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes' head. I was able to see the back of his head. Imagine how much knowledge I would have if I was able to see the front. So, the Mefarshim have a few different commentaries on it. And one of the opinions is that Rebbe was one of the students in Rabbi Meir's students, but he didn't sit close. He sat in the back, far away from his teacher, and he was able to see him from far away, but he never developed a close relationship with him as if you do one-on-one. He says, look how much I learned from him just from being one of the students in his class. One of the many students he had. Look how much I was able to learn from him just from seeing him draw on a chalkboard. Just a student in his class. Look, I wrote the entire Mishnah. Imagine I was able to get close to him and learn his Torah. People today don't understand the value of a rabbi, unfortunately. One of the biggest problems we have today is that people have no concept of what a rabbi is. They think that a rabbi is just another guy, you learn some Torah, you come to shiur, and that's it. You come to shiur, you listen to a few minutes, that's it. They don't take advantage of what, if someone's mamash able to be a rabbi, is Talmid Chacham, has some wisdom, knows a few things, if take advantage of it, was taking advantage of it, taking advantage of it means everything. Not just the Torah, shalom bayit, business, talk to him about everything. Why? Because he's going to give you da'at Torah. He's going to give you the opinion of the Torah, not his opinion. Someone is able to give you da'at Torah, he's going to give you his opinion, the opinion of the Torah all the time, not his own opinion. If it's his own opinion, it's just like another friend. But if he gives you the opinion of the Torah, what should I do here? This is a deal between us and this other company. Should we do it? Should we not? This other company, they do da-da-da-da-da. Well, you know what? Based on Torah, you're not allowed to do business with them. Why? Because they violate this. Or based on Torah, you're allowed to do it. Based on allowed, not allowed. Based on wisdom that he has on business. Based on the wisdom that he has on certain things. Or, I have shalom bayit problems. Why? My wife doesn't like to talk to me ever. She talks to me once a week. She says Shabbat Shalom. Oh, okay, why? Well, that Torah means that there's probably a problem on both ends. It's not just her fault. Has to be something else. A woman that just stop talking to her husband. Something. Did you call her fat? Did you call her ugly? Did you tell her she's, I don't know, she's not pleasing you anymore? Did you tell her that our food is terrible? She should learn from your mother how to cook? Did you tell her one of these poisonous comments? Yeah, what's the big deal? Oh, that's the big deal. You should have gotten a divorce. Before, instead of saying the comment, you should have just filed for divorce. Why? Because you just killed her. One of those comments, you just murdered her alive. You just murdered her. You told her, go learn cooking for my mother? Murder. She called 911 on you. Charge you for murder. Tell you, go learn from my sister how to cook. Murder. You're not making me happy. Murder. Mamash murder. Guys talk to their wives like they're one of the guys. They don't realize she's not one of the guys. She's never going to be one of the guys. And if she's one of the guys, she doesn't want to be with you. She wants to be with another guy that she could be a woman with. So, Rebbe learned all of this from his rabbi. And he cherished his rabbi because he says, look how much I learned from him just from being far from him. Rabbi Meir was also a very, very accomplished lecturer. Gave good lectures, and he made a formula for lecture. How to give lecture, he says, to keep people interested. He said, as the successful formula for public speaking, give 1/3 of the lecture should be about halacha. Give rules. Allowed, not allowed. Allowed, not allowed. Yes, no. Yes, no. Halacha. Review different things. 1/3 should be a lecture. Gives, different things of, make it flow. And the third, stories. Give stories, Sipurei Tzadikim, Moshe Rabbeinu, different things. Why? This is how you keep your audience into the lecture. Keep them focused. If you just say halacha, you already lost 75% of the crowd. Why? Because most people are going to get bored. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, the whole time. Most people are going to get bored. If we just say story, the guys don't want to learn halacha, and say, this guy's not serious. This guy's not serious. So you have to combine everything. You have to break it up. Obviously, it all has to flow, and Hashem gives you siyat v'ishma, you do it all at the same time. But today, I see, God bless him, some of these speakers, Baruch Hashem, Hashem gave me the ability to speak, and it has nothing to do with me, but I see sometimes, I've been speaking for 20 years already, business and this. I see sometimes these guys that know a lot of Torah, a ton of Torah, much more than I could ever know. Mamash, it's not even a matter they don't know how to speak. They don't know what to speak about. Sometimes they don't know how to speak. Hashem didn't give them the gift. But sometimes they don't know what to speak about. Why? They come to a shiur, they tell you yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It's a boring shiur. Allowed, not allowed. Allowed, not allowed. Allowed, not allowed. And that's what you see in a big knesset. Everybody's on the phone. The guy is talking, and everybody's on their phone. Nobody's paying attention to him. If you see as a speaker, if you see people on the phone, it's your fault, not their fault. As a speaker, if there's one person on the phone, it could be his fault. He's maybe just not interested in being there. But if the whole crowd or a large part of the crowd is on their phone, and it's just not paying attention, it's your fault. It's not their fault. It's your fault that they're on the phone. Why? You're not interesting. To go read people a book and what it says, they can read it themselves. You have to animate it for them. Give them some rules, and so on. But at the same time, give them some stories. You have to break it up. So Rabbi Meir on this, he says, this is important too. Even how to speak is important. So you see, already, just from knowing who Rabbi Meir on this is, already we learned a bunch of things. So now, let's see what he actually says here. He says, limit your business activities and engage in Torah study. I mean, this is something we probably heard 1,000 times already by now. Go learn Torah, don't work so much. What's the chidush here? What's the chidush? I mean, come on, Rabbi Meir, with all of your gedulah, all of your giant wisdom, Rebbe Kadosh says he learned his entire Torah just from looking at the back of your head. This is what you're telling me, this is the chidush? That's it, go learn Torah, less work. That's it. What's the chidush? The chidush here is the basic level of Emunah. Basic level of Emunah. Someone came to the Chafetz Chaim, alav shalom, and he says to him, Kvod Harav, I'm thinking of expanding my business. Expanding my business. But it's going to cost this, and do this, and do this, and do this, and be more time, more this, more this. Should I do it, Kvod Harav? And he says, the Rav starts laughing. He says, no, Rav, I was serious. I'm asking a serious question. He goes, no, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing, I remember a story. Well, what's the story, Kvod Harav? Well, I'll tell you the story. He says, one time there was a guy, he was selling beer directly from the barrel. And the beer barrel had one fountain. And this guy wasn't exactly the smartest guy in the world. Wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. He says, listen, each barrel, I can make 40 pints. 40 containers that could sell out of each barrel. One fountain. I need to make more money because I got to buy a bigger house. I got to buy this. I got to do this. I got expenses. I got to make more money. So he had a bright idea. What is he going to do? He's going to put two fountains in the same barrel. So he puts two fountains, construction, almost broke the barrel, lost the whole beer. But he fixed it, invested. There's two openings for the beer, but he sees it's the same 40 containers, same 40 pints. How could it be? He says, I have two fountains. He goes, maybe I didn't build it right. I want to put three. I'll put 3 fountains in the same barrel. Now it's probably going to be 120. Lo and behold, he sees, dude, same 40. He says, I don't understand. He goes to one of his friends. He goes, listen, there's something wrong with my fountains. He goes, what's wrong with your fountains? He goes, look, I put 3 fountains, so it's the same amount. He goes, yes, you fool. The foundation is still the same. The well is still the same. The amount is still the same. Where you're getting from is still the same. It doesn't matter how many openings there are. So the Chafetz Chaim says to his student, he says, my son, the foundation is still the same. It doesn't matter if you work 2 jobs or 3 jobs or 8 jobs or 9 jobs, or you have 1 business or 2 business or 10 business or 5 business or 1 building or 2 building or 10 building. The foundation is still the same. If Hashem wants you to have, you're going to have. He doesn't want you to have. You're not going to have. It doesn't matter how much you work. You could work 20 hours a day and still be poor. You know how many people work 20 hours a day and they're still poor? You know how many people work only 1, 2, 3 hours a day and they're still rich? Hashem decreed for this one to be poor, not one to be rich. Has nothing to do with the amount of time. That's the chidush that Rabbi Meir is saying over here. He says, limit your time, your activities in business. Engage in Torah. Why? Because it doesn't matter how much you work. Do the basic minimum. Whatever the minimum is, do that. If you're required, if the minimum is for you to work at so-and-so company, is to work 9 hours a day, that's what you should work. Don't work an hour more, an hour less. Work as little as possible. Why? All that time, spend it on Torah. Don't work overtime. Don't open another business. Don't do any of that stuff. If Hashem wants you to have, you're going to have. Do the basic minimum of business. Why? Because in reality, your purpose in life is to go learn Torah. Now, how do we know this in actuality? What's a proof that we can see every day? Every day you can see a proof, mamash, 100%. I tell people, anyone wants proof of the Satan, just come watch a shiur. Look at how many distractions there is in every shiur. The camera goes upside down. This one calls, that one calls, the camera breaks, this one, everything's, mamash, the whole week everything works except during the shiur. So this is another way you can actually see the Yetzer live. How do you know the Yetzer doesn't want you to learn Torah and he actually wants you to work? When was the last time you tried learning Torah, but something happened? Right before you learned Torah. Something happened. You wanted to learn Torah, but flat tire. You wanted to learn Torah, but all of a sudden the kids are crying. You wanted to learn Torah, all of a sudden your spouse is yelling at you. You wanted to learn Torah, you can't find your shoes. You wanted to learn Torah, you lost the book. You want to learn Torah, the computer doesn't work. You want to learn Torah, there's Hurricane Irma. Irma came for why? You want to learn Torah first time in 10 years. You want to learn Torah, Irma came. You want to learn Torah. But when was the last time you had Yetzer not to work? Oh, honey, I'm going to work overtime. Yetzer ever interfere? No. Go work overtime. Go work the rest of the year, honey. Go, work. We need the money. Well, honey, we have $10 million in the bank. Yeah, we need it. We need it for school. Yetzer never interferes with work. Go work forever. Stay there. Just don't learn Torah. The Yetzer will never interfere with your job. Never. Because he wants you to stay there. He wants you to occupy yourself with work and with the mundane things of this world, so you stay away from Torah. Why? Because work keeps you away from him. Torah is the poison against him. It's the potion that kills him. So that's why Rabbi Ephraim says, the Satan will never ever disturb you from business, and he'll prefer for you to go work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not 6 days, no Shabbat. 7 days a week, work on Shabbat too. Why? It's not Torah. As long as it's not Torah, go do it. That's mamash a proof you can see every day. Go try it. Try it at home. Try this. This is mamash a proof. You go. You want to learn Torah? Watch how many interferences you have before you want to shiur Torah. How many interferences before you, honey, I want to go to shiur. She didn't talk to you the whole day. She didn't talk to you. She didn't say nothing the whole day. Honey, I'm going to shiur. Oh, no, but I needed you. What do you mean? I've been at home for 12 hours. You didn't say you needed nothing. You didn't even say hello yet. Good morning. I was been up. No, I needed you. Why? I got to go to shiur Torah. I'm sorry, I need you now. For what? You end up sitting there at home waiting for her to tell you what to do. 4 hours. You could have been to shiur Torah and come back home already. But Yetzer sent, what happened? You went to your wife to go to you. Or the opposite. Or the kids. Or the car. Or all of a sudden your boss calls you, hey, listen, I need you in the office. When? Now. What do you mean? It's 8 o'clock at night. I need to go to shiur Torah right now. No. We have a closing. We have a this. We have a deal. We have a that. You got to come in. But it's 8 o'clock at night. I have a family. It doesn't matter. You have to come in. He puts pressure on you, making you feel like you're going to lose your job. So you're not going to lose your job. You're not going to lose your job. All you're going to lose is shiur Torah. That's all you're going to lose. But that's Yetzer. Mamash, try this at home. Watch. You open a book, all of a sudden you're tired. Before you opened the book, you were like a bull. You were able to rip trees with your teeth out of the ground. Open a Sefer Gemara, open Chumash, open anything, all of a sudden, like Mamash, there's like a plague on you. You're dying. The ones who sleeping, you can't move. Pain, tooth pain, ear pain, this pain, that pain. Why? You open Sefer Torah. All of a sudden you're like narcoleptic. You know, narcolepsy is people have the disease. They talk to you, all of a sudden, boop, they fall asleep. All day you are alive like a lion. Open Sefer Torah, fall asleep like a baby. I don't know why they say fall asleep like a baby. These babies don't fall asleep. They don't sleep. My babies go to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm competing with them. They don't sleep. I don't know why they say sleep like a baby. My babies don't sleep, God bless them.
Just realized that.
I think the guy that made the quote never had any kids. That's what happened. Never had any kids. So, Rabbi Meir tells you basics. You see all these Mishnayot are very basic. Very basic principles of Torah. He says, less work, more Torah. Why? The prime reason for your existence is learning and following Torah. Business, Hashem is going to give it to you one way or another. Never turn your life to such an extent, which unfortunately all of us are victims of, where business becomes priority and Torah becomes secondary. Our goal in life is to make Torah priority and business something we do in order to learn Torah. That's the goal in life. The goal in life is not to make business priority. It's to make Torah priority. Now this is very hard for people because the Satan convinces you with genius arguments. He says, listen, it's very nice this rabbi is telling you go learn Torah and no business and less business and all business. But hey, who pays for the CDs that he has? Who pays for the organization BeEzrat HaShem? Who pays for the rent? Who pays for the car? Who pays for the food? He needs money. Even him, not talking about themselves. Talking about he needs money, so people donate. If they don't work, there's no donations. So if I work, so now the Yetzer goes a step further. He goes, see, maybe people are not donating much, so I have to work extra so I can give him more donation. Because if a million times I've heard this, once I become rich, I'm going to donate all my money to Kiruv. Once I have this $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, whatever million, zillion dollar dreams that people have, once I have that, I'm going to donate zillions, half of it I'm going to give to Kiruv. Oh, I bought this lotto, Kvod Harav. Oh, great. How much is it? It's $500 million. Well, good luck to you. No, Kvod Harav, you should pray for this. Why? Half of it's going to you. I'm in. One time, There was a guy came to a rabbi. He says, Kvod Harav, I want you to pray for me to your God that I win this lotto ticket, $10 million. He says, no problem. I'll pray for you. A week passes, nothing. He didn't win. He goes, Kvod Harav, what happened? Sometimes our prayers are not answered. Sometimes Hashem says no. Because what kind of God is this? No, pray for me. I'm harder. Fine. Listen, Kvod Harav, I'll up the ante. Last time I said I was going to give maaseh, I was going to give 1 million. This time I'm telling you, I'm giving you half. Rabbi says, Amen. No problem, I'll pray. He goes, I'm giving you half, Kvod Harav. No problem, praying. 5 million to me, 5 million to you. With shutafim. We're partners. No problem, praying for you all week. Gemara, Tosfot, everything. I'm going to learn for you. Another week passes, no money. The guy says, this guy's not serious. He goes to the church, Avodah Zarah over there. He goes, hey, priest, go, put down your idol for a second. Come over here. He goes, yeah, I was just washing JC. He had some syrup on his eyes. We pretended like it was blood. What happened? Listen, I want you to pray for me. So I win the lotto. I give half to the church. No problem, pray for you. Next day, jackpot, $10 million. The guy, the next day, he's driving in his brand new car, and he passes by this church, and he passes by the synagogue, and his friend is in the car. And as soon as he passes by the church, he looks at it, and he looks at the, says, like this, and he looks at the synagogue, and he starts laughing. His friend says, why are you laughing? He goes, the God of Israel is not a sucker. He knew I'm not going to pay. The God of Israel is not, he knew I'm not going to pay.
That's a good one.
So, that's the thing. So, everybody says, listen, once I make this deal, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to give money to Kiruv. I'm going to save Neshamot. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But I have a question for you. What makes you think, what part of the Torah did you learn that makes you think that your Yetzer is not going to grow with your bank account? What makes you think that your desire, right now, 100%, you say you're going to give, right now, I believe you. Right, but I believe you that if you had it, you'd give. But you don't have it, that's why you have no Yetzer for it. What makes you think that your Yetzer doesn't change with your bank account? What makes you think that once you have the money, you're still going to want to give just like you wanted to give when you didn't have? Everybody says, I'm going to give what I don't have. One guy, they came to him, they said, listen, we want to make sure that you are worthy of being one of the sergeants of the Caesar. Okay, ask. What do you need? We need to see your loyalty. No problem. What? Because your donkey. Would you give it to the Caesar? No problem. Give it to him right away. Your cow. You give it to the Caesar? No problem, on the spot. You ask, I give. Okay, good. So far, so good. Your chicken. You give your chicken, he goes, hey, no chicken. Not giving you no chicken. Think, this guy is crazy. Get him out of here. Give the cow, give the donkey. Not give a chicken? They throw him out. They're like, this guy doesn't even have a profile. The profile, they try to test the profile from 1 to 10. This guy's not even a 1. He's like, wait, the donkey, the chick. What's wrong with you? They kick him out. One of his friends asked him outside, goes, what's wrong with you? The donkey, the cow, you give, but chicken you wouldn't give? I mean, if anything, it should be the opposite. He goes, no, listen, let me tell you something. Donkey, I don't have. Cow, I don't have. Chicken, I have. I'm not giving him my chicken. Something I don't have, I give it to them anytime. I don't have a donkey. Take it, though. Cow, I don't have. They want to give me a cow, I'll give it back to them. No problem. But my chicken, it's my chicken. I'm not giving my chicken. People want to give away the stuff they don't have all the time. All the time they want to give it. I'll give you a million. No, but that's not the test. Hashem says now is a test. Now you're making $500 a week. Now it's time to give maaseh. That's the test. So Rabbi Meir says, listen, you're trying to overwork because you think that if you make more money, you're going to give more to Torah, or you're going to be able to learn more Torah. Who says you're right? Yetzer changes with your bank account. Your Yetzer changes with your bank account. He's going to grow with the bank account. So you think that you're going to make more money and therefore you're going to have more time to retire. You're going to say, listen, I'm going to work 20, 30 years for my pension. Once I'm on pension, I'm leaving everything. I'm only learning Torah from morning to night. Yetzer shows up in your pension party. He says, hey, how are you? He goes, oh, what are you doing here? You were with me for 30 years. He goes, no, I left you alone for 30 years. You were working. I didn't bother you. He goes, what are you doing here now? He goes, now I'm here for the stay. Now I'm here for the retirement. To make sure you don't learn 1 ounce of Torah. That's the Yetzer. Don't try to fool him. It doesn't work. Only way is give him the portion of Torah when it's hard for you. When the kids are crying, when the wife is complaining, when the husband doesn't want, when all this stuff, that's when you learn Torah. That's when you learn Torah. It's not supposed to be easy. And to think that if you have more money, it's going to change things, it's not going to change anything. It's going to make more hard, more difficult. So that's the first rule. Rabbi Meir says, very, very simple, but very difficult at the same time. It's very simple, but very, very difficult. Why? Because the Yetzer, you can't see him unless you look for him. Everybody thinks the Yetzer is nothing. They don't believe in it. That's his biggest genius. He convinced you he doesn't even exist. Nothing. So that's the first thing. Rabbi Yehuda Leib Ashlag, Allah Shalom, says chasing money is one of the most foolish things in the world. Why is it the most foolish things in the world? Because imagine someone hoarding currency, hoarding cash, which the government announced that it's going to be taken out of circulation soon. Someone is collecting all the cash he can find, but the government made an announcement, all of this currency is not going to be valid anymore. We're coming out with new currency. And this one, once it's out of circulation, it's worth nothing. Like what happened in India recently, what happened in Venezuela pretty much. The currency is down 99.9% practically. It's worthless. What's happening in different governments that are corrupt around the world, that's one of the ways they pretty much steal everybody's money without doing anything. They make the currency worthless. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes not intentionally, but the point is, it happens. Here he's saying, Rabbi Yehuda is saying, hey listen, someone chasing money, it's like someone trying to collect as much cash of a currency that's about to be canceled. Why? Eventually he dies. All the cash he gathered for 70, 80, 90 years is worthless. Can't take him with him. In Olam Haba, you can't take your cash with you. Doesn't matter how much you have, 20, 30, 40, 50 million. Worthless. It's out of circulation in Olam Haba. It's not worth anything. You spend your whole life collecting money you're not even going to use. And that's what Shlomo HaMelech says in Ecclesiastes. He says the rich, what do? They collect money their whole life just to give it to somebody else. They themselves never use it. He goes, that's one of the vanities of the world. That's one of the things that's mamash like a difficulty to understand. How could such a thing be? But it's our own foolishness that causes this. Iveret adam tesalef darko, ve'al Adonai yiz'af libo. The foolishness of man causes him to sin against God, and then he gets mad at God for punishing him. It's your fault, you did it. So, the Chafetz Chaim says that the world says this, there's a saying called, time is money. Time is money. He says, but I say that money is time. That's what Chafetz Chaim says. I also heard this from Rav Mizrahi. He says this also all the time. He says, money is time. What does it mean, money is time? He goes, in order to get this money, you have to spend an enormous amount of time. Now let's say you have an excuse. I need to spend this time to get money so I can buy more books, more Sifrei Torah. The Chafetz Chaim says, even if it's for Sifrei Torah, it's not worth it. Why? Read the books. Learn from the books you already have. The amount of time you're going to spend to go make money, to get money, to go buy Torah, use that time to go learn Torah that you already have. You have 5 books. That's enough. You don't have to have 500 books. Sometimes you go to people's houses, they have 500 books, they read 3. 500 books they have. They like the way it looks. But they read 3 books, maybe. And it's like half the first one. Second one, they skipped over a little bit. And the fourth one, they skimmed. The rest of them are brand new. Nothing and never touched. People like to buy books, but not read them. He says, don't, while you're spending all this money to make an excuse, Yetzer of books. Yetzer is telling you, go buy books, just don't read them. So you always feel like you're becoming more tzaddik because you have more books. This is a serious problem all over the place. People do things to make themselves feel like they're tzaddikim, but they're not doing anything to become tzaddikim. So for example, you have people that go to Reform and conservative churches or synagogues, whatever you want to call them, and they say that they're praying. They go to BeKnesset on Shabbat, but they drive on Shabbat, but they feel like tzaddikim, even though they're violating Shabbat by driving on Shabbat, by eating non-kosher on Shabbat, by cooking on Shabbat, by doing all these things that are violating Shabbat, but they go to synagogue to pray, so they feel like tzaddikim. They're not doing anything to become tzaddikim, but they feel like tzaddikim because they went to BeKnesset. Same thing with the church. You have 50, 100, 200, 300,000 people show up at the stadium-sized church where they tell you, listen, just give 10% or more of your salary, you're tzaddik. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to keep Shabbat, you have to keep kosher, you can murder, you can steal, you could rape, you could do whatever you want. Just give money. So what do? They give money. Everybody gives. The church, there's no such thing as not giving money. Everybody gives money. Why? That's my ticket to be tzaddik. That's my ticket to murder. That's my ticket to steal. That's my ticket to cheat. That's my ticket to be immodest. That's my ticket to do whatever I want. It's not believe that some guy died for you. It's paying for him. Somehow he needs money all the time. Guy is dead 2,000 years, he still needs money. For what? So they can build bigger stadiums to convince more fools to follow this stupidity. But why do they do it? Because it makes them feel like tzaddikim. Makes them feel righteous. How about being righteous? Many people buy books. It could be Sefer Torah, it could be holy books. But they don't read them. They say, listen, I need to work overtime, I need to work 3 jobs, I need to work this big job, I need to do this. Why? Look how many books I have. You think these books came by themselves? I got $5, $6, $7, $10,000 worth of books. Buddy, you don't need $10,000 worth of books. Take one for $30 and read it. That's it. Read it. You don't have the 30, I'll give it to you. I'll give you the book for free. You don't need to return the $10,000. Who told you to go work non-stop for books that you're not going to read? Doesn't make you tzaddik. You know how many people have collections of the Zohar in their house? And no one knows how to read it. No one knows how to read it. Even in the kollel, even in people that learn Torah all day, all night, many of them don't know how to read it. And even if they know how to read it, as far as pronouncing the words and understanding the words, they don't understand the deep meaning of it. That's why the sages say you're not even allowed to study Zohar until you're 40 years old and complete expert in everything else. But you have a bunch of people that are amei haaretz, meaning complete ignoramus, but they have Zohar in their library. Why do you have Zohar? What are you going to do with it? No, the rabbi told me that, the salesman really, called himself a rabbi, the salesman told me that it's holy to have it in the house. No, it's holy to read it. It protects you. No, mezuzah protects you. The book you're supposed to read. If you can't read it, it's not going to do anything for you. All you're going to do is give the salesman / rabbi money. So that's the thing. It's the Yetzer appears in different ways. He attacks in different ways. He sneaks in. He's like the dirt under your nails. You don't know where it came from. The whole day you were in the office typing. Somehow at the end of the day your nails are black. How? What happened? I didn't work in the dirt. That's the Yetzer. He appears. So he appears in business all the time. All the time. One time, there was a poor guy looking for a ride, trying to hitchhike. A guy picks him up on his wagon, and he sees the guy is, instead of sitting down and relaxing for the ride, it's going to be a long ride, sees the guy is standing and he's still holding up his bag. He says, hey, you know, you could sit down. He goes, nah, come on, I'm already too much for you. Not only you give me a ride, you want to carry my bags too? I'm carrying it for you. He says, you fool, once you're on the wagon, I'm carrying you in the bag without you carrying it. The sages say this is us. This is us when we try to work overtime. This is us when we try to make extra money to help Hashem give us parnasah. You're already on the wagon. You already know Hashem's carrying you. Now that you're actually finally fulfilling His will, finally you're learning Torah. Finally you're doing mitzvot. Now you decided I'm going to help Him out. Who needs your help, Ichlal? You're already on His wagon. You think He needs your help? He's already carrying you anyway. Why would He carry you less by you learning Torah? It doesn't make any sense. When you weren't learning Torah, when you weren't doing mitzvot, He was giving you parnasah anyway. Now you're doing mitzvot, now you're learning Torah, all of a sudden He's going to take away parnasah from you. Why? If anything, it's the opposite, give you more. So why do you think you need to work more? You don't need to work more. Work what you need to work, not more, not less. 9 hours a day, work 9 hours a day. Work normal schedule. Don't be one of these people who works 18 jobs. I met this one person. They told me they have 3 jobs. I said, when do you sleep? He said, in between the jobs. 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. I'm like, I'll lie that I could sleep 15 minutes. That's David HaMelech. If you use that time to learn Torah, you wouldn't even need to work. If you could actually have that much stamina that you could work that many jobs, only sleep 15 minutes in between jobs, you should learn Torah. You be David HaMelech, you be Mashiach b'chava. So people constantly think they need to help God. You don't need to help anybody. You don't need to help God. You just need to help yourself by learning more Torah. So now the next thing that Rabbi Meir says is that, okay, now you finally got the point. Whatever you work, you're going to work. You want more proof? You have Gemara. Gemara Maseret Rosh Hashanah, page 16. Gemara Maseret BeEzrat, page 16. On Rosh Hashanah, it's 16a. On BeEzrat, it's 16b. It says, Hashem Yitbarach decided what parnasah you're going to get on Rosh Hashanah. From Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, He decided what parnasah you're going to get. So it's already in your written Torah, in your oral Torah, proof. So you know parnasah, whether you work overtime or under time, you're going to get the same thing. Don't kill yourself. Now, once you got that point through your head, you're working a schedule. Yetzer didn't leave. You think Yetzer left? You don't know Yetzer then. What Yetzer do? Yetzer says, look at you. Look at you. You work a full schedule. On top of that, you're studying 4 hours a day. You, Talmid Chacham already. The guy just learned Halachot Shabbat last week. You're Talmid Chacham. They shouldn't talk to you that way. They should call you Rabbi. They should look at you, look straight up. You know, they should give you respect, give you honor. What is this guy saying to you? How did he talk to you? Sure, this you want this guy? All of a sudden, you want people to give you honor. Why? Because you learned a couple hours of Torah. You're already learning for 3-4 years. These people don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. Only you know. Only you know. Nobody knows anything. You're the only one that knows. Even your rabbi doesn't know. You're already smarter than your rabbi. So what? He's been learning for 25 years. So what? You already know more than him. You're smarter than him. Hashem gave you special siyata d'shmaya. You're special. You're Moshe Rabbeinu. You're Rabbi Akiva. You're Rabbi Meir. All of a sudden, Yetzer goes into you. Why? Because you're learning a few hours a day for a little while. All of a sudden, Yetzer came in a different way. He goes, oh, okay. You beat me at the business? No problem. I show up inside the Chumash. In the Chumash, I show up. In the Chumash, I'll show you. Every time you get a chidush, it's going to be the wrong chidush. What kind of chidush? You're going to start becoming your own commentary. You're not reading Rashi anymore. One time I met this guy pretending to be a tzaddik, wore all white. He wore all, I somehow, Hashem Yitbarach sends me all these different special cases. This guy wore all white. But not all white during, all white all the time. Thought he was maybe an angel or something. Wore all white. And he pretended to be a Kabbalist or something like that. Anyone that wears all white and pretends to be a Kabbalist is not a Kabbalist, he's not anything. He doesn't know anything, b'chal. And this guy proved that he didn't know anything. I found out later on he's a complete fraud. Anyway, this little white angel of death decided that rips people off, decided that, he wants to show off. So we're sitting in a living room in a friend of mine's house on Shabbat, and it's a bunch of us. He tells his helper, listen, go get me the Gemara. Give me the Gemara or the Zohar. It's one of the books that he says. So the guy got up. He goes, no, but listen, without Rashi. I don't want Rashi. Meaning no commentary at all, nothing. Now even the biggest sages in history have commentary. The biggest Doeg of now, of previous generation, everyone has commentary. You have to know. Well, you're right, you're wrong. Even if you know by heart, you double check. This guy, no commentary. I want the one without commentary. Why? He says, no. I know. At that second, I knew he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything, nothing he doesn't know. And I confirmed everything's right. Why? Yetzer went inside his Gemara. He says, oh, no, you know everything. Why? You studied a little bit, you know more than everybody. Yetzer appears in different ways. If you don't show up at work, he says, okay, I'll come to your chumash, I'll come to your shiur Torah. I'll tell you, listen, this shiur, okay, so you did tshuva, you don't need the shiur anymore. I had a bunch of times, people, they come to the shiur Torah, they come 6 months, a year and a half, they do tshuva, Baruch HaShem, they start becoming decent human beings outside of the show, but really much better human beings. All of a sudden, they stop coming to the shiur. Now, in the old days, I had a little more time in my hands, so I would call them and say, hey, what happened? I'm not coming. Oh, no, I don't have. In the beginning, it's excuses. I don't have time. I don't have this. I'm like, you had time for a year and a half. When you didn't believe anything, you had time. Now you believe in everything, you don't have time. Before, the job was the same. The business was the same. The wife was the same. Everyone was the same, and you didn't believe, and you had time. Now you believe, and you don't have time? What happened? So one time, one guy actually told me. I asked him, how come you don't come to the shiur? He goes, I did tshuva already. I said, what? What do you mean? He goes, I did tshuva already. You know, your shiur, it's for brand new people. It's for brand new people. It's not, I did tshuva already. I said, oh, it's for brand new people. So he did tshuva. He showed up to a few shiurim, he started keeping Shabbat. That's it. He doesn't need to come to shiur Torah anymore. So, this, Rav Nisim again, Allah Shalom, said a wonderful analogy about Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu and Sarah Imenu, they were known as the first monotheistic people. Even Avraham Avinu's father, Terach, was an idol worshiper. He sold idols. So Avraham Avinu was mamash by himself. Only believer in God in the world. Now Avraham would convert all of the people, all the men, and Sarah would convert all the women. Make them become monotheistic, believe in God. There was no conversion process like today. There was no bedin. But meaning they leave the idol that you just bought for my father and come to HaShem. But it says in the Gemara that they converted mamash, millions of people. But eventually, nothing was left except one student. Only one student remained loyal to HaShem. Everybody else went back to becoming idol worshippers. How could it be? All that work Avraham Avinu did, you know how hard it is to get one person to do tshuva? Imagine 100, imagine 1,000, imagine 10,000, imagine 100,000. To get that many people to do tshuva, and all of it is gone? I want to cry saying the story, forget about living it. What happened? Rav Nisim again says, here's the chidush. What's the chidush? Those 100,000, 1 million, or however many people that did tshuva originally became monotheistic, they came to a few shiurim and stopped coming. Eliezer stuck with Avraham Avinu for the rest of his life. Why? Because he knew that for the doctor to really, really work, it's continuous medicine. It's follow-up appointments. You can't just go to the doctor, take Advil, and it's finished. You, my friend, have a spiritual disease. Once you have a spiritual disease, it doesn't go away. It never goes away. It adapts. It changes. It changes. It mutates. So in the beginning, you were an atheist. Okay, now you're not an atheist. Now you have Yetzer for something else. But now he likes women too much, other than his wife. Okay, so work on that. Okay, now he's loyal to his wife, but he likes money too much. Even the money is not his. Then this, your Yetzer changes. That's where you can't go to shiur Torah and finish. It has to be follow-up appointments. Eliezer was Nimrod's son. Nimrod made himself into an idol. Nimrod, Rasha Merusha, made himself into an idol. He said, after he saw what Avraham Avinu was, he said to his son, listen, I'm finished. But you, it's better you be a slave to Avraham Avinu than a king after me or next to me. Better you be his slave. So Eliezer got to a point where he went to Gan Eden alive. Alvai, we all go there dead to Gan Eden. He went into Gan Eden alive. Why? Follow up shiur, follow up shiur, follow up shiur, follow up shiur. Never left his rabbi. Never left. Everybody else left the rabbi, gone. This has nothing to do with me. This is already Avraham Avinu 4,000 years ago. And it had nothing to do with this is a brand new shiur, this is only for Baalei Tshuva. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Anyone that wants to do tshuva must go to shiurei Torah every single week. Every opportunity you have, you go to shiur Torah. Of course, you have to learn from books also, but you must attend shiur Torah. Not just watch them online. If you're able to attend a shiur Torah, attend it. If you live in the middle of nowhere, or your rabbi is far away, he's in New York, or he's in Florida, and you're in Arkansas, or Australia, or somewhere far away, you can't attend, it's different. But if you can attend, you must attend the shiur Torah. That's the siyata d'ishmaya. That's the special assistance from heaven. But if you're not going to attend, you're just going to coast, think everything is going to be okay, you're opening double doors for the Yetzer to interfere. Double, not one door, two doors. Go ahead.
Any chance I don't know if you can elaborate a little bit more. What was the reaction of the Yetzer when Abraham Avinu defeated Nimrod? He was his son.
Yes, and well, I mean, the thing is, though, is that Avraham Avinu didn't just defeat Nimrod, he made fun of him first. He made fun of him first because Nimrod said, I'm God. Bow to me. Avraham Avinu says, what God? Last week you had a backache. This week you have diarrhea. Next week you're probably going to have foot fungus. What God? You're nothing. He made fun of him. So, and he said, well, you want me to jump into want me to burn me? No problem. I'll jump into the fire. And he jumped into the fire. You don't have to throw me in the fire. I jump into the fire. He jumped into the fire. Now the people that tried taking him to the fire themselves got burned. Just from how hot the fire was. So when they saw that Avraham jumped into the fire, for sure, he's not only dead, he's dead in Olam Haba too, he has to be. But then they start seeing there's two images walking in the fire. Two, not one, two. Why? The angels went to HaShem and said, HaShem, let us save this only monotheistic person, only person that believes in you in all of the world. Let us save him. He says, no. He's one alone over there, I'm one alone over here. I'm going to save him myself. And Hashem Yitbarach went down into the fire and saved Avraham Avinu himself and walked with him. And he says, you've been looking for me, here I am. You're willing to die for me before you knew me. Here I am. So now, Avraham Avinu is dancing in the fire. Eventually becomes a joke because everybody's like, listen, Nimrod, he's not only not dying, he's celebrating in the fire and there's two. He multiplied. Something happened. So Nimrod, okay. No. Get him out of here already. He's killing my system. Everybody's going to become Choser B'Tshuva because of him. Everybody's going to do Tshuva because of this guy. He's going to kill my entire kids. It's going to be a revolution of Tshuva. Get him out of here. Hey, take my son and go out. Nimrod knew it was the truth, but he's not going to lose his business. He was tied to money. So now, Rabbi Meir says, first and foremost, don't underestimate your Yetzer to think that it's only going to be in your business. It's also going to be in your Torah. How is it going to be in your Torah? It's going to be in your Torah making you think you're too smart. You're smarter than everybody else. You're better than everybody else. You're over-righteous. All of a sudden, you know everything, nobody knows anything. Mikbara says some people get to such a point where they don't want to have a rabbi. I had one guy stopped having a rabbi. Why? He goes, no, I know better than my rabbi. What do you mean you know better than a rabbi? You just did tshuva 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Your rabbi is a rabbi for 30 years, 40 years. How do you know more than your rabbi? No, I read the Gemara, I understand everything. I said, oh, you know, so did you read Masechet Yomah? No, I haven't gotten there yet. Oh, Masechet Yomah, page 119 says, someone doesn't have a rabbi, God hates him. Did you read that yet? Did you get to that part? Even Rav Ovadia had a rabbi. You don't have a rabbi? You bowed tshuva 5 years? You little puppy. You have a rabbi? Everybody has to have a rabbi. But sometimes Yetzer gets into your Torah, destroys you. Destroys you from inside. Then he continues and he says, if you neglected the study of Torah, you will have many excuses to neglect it. This doesn't even need that much commentary. This doesn't need that much commentary. Why? All of us have neglected Torah at some point. How? We say, 1 minute, let me finish this show, and then I'll read. 1 minute, let me finish this call, and then I'll learn. 1 minute, let me eat this extra meal. And 1 minute, let me finish this text. Let me finish this email. Let me finish this, let me finish that. Next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you have no energy, you have to go to sleep. No Torah. He says, if you're mevatel Torah, if you neglected Torah by making other things, number one, you're never going to run out of excuses. There's always going to be an oversupply of excuses to not learn Torah. This is one of the things that the Yetzer is an expert. Expert, he's the best. He's good at all the things. He's the best. To give you excuses of why you can't learn Torah, the best. Phone calls, text messages, internet doesn't work, the book is boring, you're tired, the wife is crying, the kids are crying, the neighbors are crying, the garbage is here, the garbage is there. Whatever you want, he's going to make it up. Whatever is relevant to you, he's going to make it up right there and then when you're supposed to learn Torah. This is something that's talking to me because there's constantly issues. When you deal with the public, it's very different to know what's important and what's not. Very difficult. Because Baruch Hashem, every time somebody texts me, emails me, or calls me, it's always emergency. It's always emergency. No, I need to talk to you right now. Tell me what it is. I need to talk to you right now. It's really, really, really urgent. Okay, you call the guy. Should I go to this Beit Knesset or the other one? That's not an emergency, man. That's not an emergency. You could have just texted me. You could have just emailed me, waited till, I don't know, whenever I answered you. It's not an emergency. It's not fair. Everything is an emergency. What happens? Now, Baruch Hashem, when you have a lot of people, what happens? I don't answer the phone. Ever. I don't answer the phone. I tell people, send me text message, send me an email, send me a WhatsApp voice, whatever you want. Send me something else, and give me an idea of what you want to talk about. And I'll decide myself if it's an emergency or not. 99% of the time, it's not an emergency. 99%. The 1% that's an emergency, no problem. Usually I know where the emergency is based on who it is. Because the people that never want to talk to me on the phone, like, not that they don't want to, but we don't talk on the phone, if they ever tell me, listen, I need to talk to you, I pick up the phone and I call them. Why? I know this guy's talking. I know this guy, serious guy, he's not wasting time. I call him. Why? I'll stop whatever I'm doing. I'll call him. But the people that want to talk to me all the time, I never pick up the phone. Why? I don't have time. First of all, I've never been a small talk type of person. I don't small talk. The shiurim, I do it for the entertainment purposes, but in general, I don't small talk. I've never been good at it. I'm not interested in it. I wasn't interested in it in the business world. I'm definitely not interested in this world. I don't do small talk. If I don't have anything to say, I don't talk. People like to talk. I don't have the time. Why? You have, I don't know, thousands of people looking for my time. And if there's none of them, there's my family. I mean, if not that, there's Torah. So it's tough. Because there's always somebody that's saying it's an emergency. Now, what's the biggest emergency? Is I need to learn. Why? Because if I don't learn, you're not going to learn either. So you have to find time. You have to find time to learn. You have to steal time, 15 minutes here, an hour there, 15 minutes there. But it's tough. Why? Because the real learning has to be consecutive and has to be at least 2 hours. Minimum 2 hours of consecutive learning without talking. That's real learning. You could steal 15 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes there. Sure, I do that all the time. And anyone should do it. But real learning, you only start after about 2 hours. You start like getting into it. Like mamash, like getting it after 2 hours. When does that happen? Usually in the middle of the night. Why? Because there's no way that someone is not going to need my time at some point during the day. So now you have the people that need your time. Marriage issues, business issues, health issues, this issue, that is. No end to the tzarot of Am Yisrael, unfortunately. On top of that, I have an organization now to run. You have BeEzrat HaShem as a real organization. You have Baruch Hashem, an app, a website, a TV station, CDs, rabbis in different places, Aviceenus. Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of stuff going on. All that stuff needs somebody to run it. Until I find a replacement, or 2 or 3 or 10, I have to do it. So you have to steal time. You guys, Baruch Hashem, you have mamash gold in your hand. You have one job. You have one job. You go to your job, you work 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever. You work, you go home, you relax. Steal the Torah that you can. Don't waste your time. I wish I could study Torah like I used to. I wish. If it was up to me, give me a cave, give me a few gemarot, leave me alone, don't talk to me for the next 20 years. But it's not my time anymore. Why? Because, unfortunately, we need Am Yisrael to do tshuva. And the more people that do what I do, the better. So that's why I try to actually also recruit people that I know if they could speak, and they know a few things and they're anshe emet, I try to recruit them, tell them to go speak. So there's one guy actually I'm working on right now, 2 people, but one of them specifically is serious, that I'm trying to get him to go start giving a shiur Torah. BeEzrat HaShem, hoping after the Chagim he's going to start giving shiur Torah every week to a group of guys here in Florida. And I know he's ish emet. And listen, it's we need people to help people do tshuva. Teachers of Torah, there's plenty. We don't need that. We need people that say truth. That's hard. That's hard to find. So, levatel Torah, to waste time, is very easy. But what does it mean when it says that you can have many excuses on top of that? It says, Yesh lecha betelim arbe kenegdecha. It says you can have many excuses, but if you translate it literally, it says that the excuses are going against you. Negdecha means against you. Against you. So what does it mean against you? In Rav and Rabbeinu Yonah both say the same thing. It says if you neglect Torah, there are many things that Hashem created that are unoccupied. They have nothing to do, and they're waiting for you to waste time so they can go and be used as tools to punish you. What are these things? Bugs, animals, rocks, all types of things that Hashem created. For what? To be used as mamash weapons to punish man. They have nothing else to do. They were created for that. So Rav and Rabbeinu Yonah say mamash something scary. It says there are many things that Hashem Yitbarach created that are unoccupied, which can easily be employed as agents to punish you. Wicked men and wild animals that are uninvolved in anything positive stand ready to inflict divine retribution for the neglect of Torah study. They specifically were created just to punish people. Not in Olam. We're not talking about Gehenom. We're talking about this world. So how is this applied in real life? How is this applied? Hold on a second. I have to turn this battery on. How is this applied in real life? The guy wants to sit, open book. Finally, opens Pirkei Avot, Gemara, whatever you will open. Somebody calls. He doesn't have to answer. He answers the phone. Hey, Joey, what's going on? What's up, man? Oh, how was the game? Hey, listen, what'd you eat? You want to go out tonight? Small talk. Everybody loves small talk. 15 minutes later, okay, I'm going to go back to my phone. You read 5-10 minutes like you're doing God a favor. Phone rings again. Oh, Steve, you're coming. I just spoke to Joey 15 minutes ago. Yeah, we're going to go to We're going to eat shawarma. You're going to come. 15 minutes small talk. Go back. You're studying 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes like you're doing God a favor. Another. Hey, Yoram, how are you? Next thing you know, 2 hours have passed. You studied maybe 20 minutes. In reality, it's like 2.5 minutes. But you've spoken on the phone for an hour and a half. But you think you're tzaddik. Oh, I spent 2 hours with the book open today. Yeah, the book was open, but you didn't read it. The book was open, but you didn't read it. Sometimes you have people that go to yeshiva, go to kollels, all day outside smoking cigarettes. Mamash chilul Hashem. They say they're avrechim, they go to kollel, but all day outside on the phone smoking cigarettes. This is the people that create a problem for Am Yisrael that are learning Torah. Why? Because all the people that are going against those people say, go to the army, go to the army, go to the army. Why are they saying go to the army? Because they see a bunch of people outside smoking cigarettes, talking on the phone. If everyone was inside the kollel learning Torah like they're supposed to, this wouldn't be a problem. We'd say, they're learning Torah, you wouldn't even see them. Out of sight, out of mind. You wouldn't see them to think about them. But if you see them outside all day smoking cigarettes and on the phone, they're like, why is this guy here? What is he doing? Why is he not doing anything? You're not thinking his father is rich, he pays for it. You're just thinking there's a guy, the government's paying for it, even though it's not true. But the point is, in the mind of the anti-Torah, it's true. If it's true, in his mind, it's true already. It's chilul Hashem. So, people don't realize the outcome of their actions many times. And Rav and Rabbeinu Yonah say, listen, you want to waste time? No problem. Hashem has specific job for people like you. He sends you, chas v'shalom, the flat tire. He sends you the tick. He sends you the wart. He sends you the rock. He sends you all these different things that he created for no reason. What's the reason? For people like you. Mosquito. The mosquito has to do a job. His whole life was created to bite somebody. Who? You have to be the guy. Why? You waste time. So what happens? What's the biggest punishment that happens? The Rambam says the biggest punishment for Vatel Torah is when you lose your merit to learn Torah. What does it mean, lose your merit to learn Torah? All of a sudden, you wasted all day. You had all day to learn Torah. It's Sunday. No work. Your wife was on vacation. You had mamash 12, 14, 15, 16, 18 hours to learn. I don't know how much you sleep. You had a lot of time to learn. Okay, you ate. Okay, you went to the bathroom. Okay, you made another couple of calls that were necessary. You had a dog you had to walk out. Whatever it was, you did a few things. Fine. But you had some time to learn, right? You wasted all day. Finally, there's 2-3 hours left to the day. And it's like, I'm going to learn. It's 8 o'clock. It's still early. You're able to learn. You're wired. You got the Gemara that you want to learn. You got the thing you need to learn. You open the book, and all of a sudden something happens. There's a lights are out. No electricity. Why? Power outage in the whole neighborhood, or just your house, whatever it is. Why? Why does it happen? What, doesn't Hashem want me to learn Torah? No. Not anymore. Why? You don't deserve it. Learning Torah is a prize. It's a reward. It's not just an obligation. It's a reward. Why? It's samachaim. It's the potion of life. If you've wasted 18 hours of the day, and finally you're showing up here, you could have studied 18 hours, you could have studied 8 hours, you could have studied 6 hours, but finally you're doing God a favor. I got 3 hours, I have nothing to do. I want to burn time. I want to burn time. Hashem says, don't worry, you don't need to burn time. Go to sleep. No Torah for you. It happens. It happens. So that's, unfortunately, one of the scary things that happens when you mivatel Torah. Last but not least, about someone that, as far as the, someone who decides that, you know what, I'm going to learn Torah whenever I get a chance. It's not really a priority in their life. And even after knowing that it's an important thing to do in life, see, Satan even sends dogs to lectures. It's no problem. He wants to acknowledge him. We acknowledge him. Now he's going to leave now. He got his attention. He's going to leave soon. Or he wants to talk also. He wants to talk over me. What are you going to say? Chidush. 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 I never heard that Mishnah. New Mishnah. New Mishnah. So, no, it's good. When you have Satan showing up as a dog, it's good. Why? It's working. He lost it. All the other things didn't work. Baruch Hashem. This sukkah is holy. So you can't come in. So he has to come from the outside, little dog. So, was a chidush I learned a week, 2 weeks ago. Gemara Masechet Pesachim, page 49, says someone doesn't learn Torah. It's called Am Haaretz, an ignorant, one of the nation, but meaning he's an ignorant. He's in the Torah world. It's very different in the business world. Why? If you become successful in business, so what? So what? A million people before you're successful. A million people right now are successful in business. You know how many successful people there are today in business? Every second person is successful in business. Some more, some less. Forbes 500, when I remember, when I first started reading Forbes, I mean, I stopped obviously a few years ago, but I remember 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, I got my first issue of Forbes. I was still in my teens, late teens. And I told you guys last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a shiur. It's all the same people, a few younger guys, but most of them is the same people, just older. But back then, Forbes 500, you had to have $1 billion or more to be on the Forbes 500. If I'm not mistaken, today, the lowest amount is like 3 or 4 billion. Meaning that there's a bunch of people that have $1 billion or more that are not on the Forbes 500. They're not high enough. So meaning that the amount of successful people in the world has increased drastically in the last couple of decades, let alone in the last century and over time. It's a huge amount of successful people. I remember when I was in the business world, even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you made over $300,000 a year, you were considered one of the top 1% of earners in the entire world. Not just the country, in the entire world. Today it's probably close, but not the same. Statistics haven't changed worldwide the same way, but in America there's an enormous amount of successful people. All over the world there's successful people. But in America there's an obnoxious amount of successful people. Not all of them are billionaires, but there's plenty of millionaires. I remember when I was a kid, I just started getting into the business world. If you had $10 million, you were considered rich. You were considered rich. You were considered very rich. $10 million. $1 million. When I was a kid, you have $1 million. You're a millionaire. Wow. $1 million? Now you have $1 million. You're an average guy. You have $1 million? How old are you? Oh, you're 50 or $1 million? Oh, I'm not sure you're going to be able to retire. You're 50 years old with $1 million. I'm not sure you're going to be able to retire. How are you going to retire? It costs more and more. The cost of living goes up and up and up and up every year, especially when you're in your 70s and your 80s, just for you to survive so people don't kill you in these homes. You have to spend $100,000 a year. With $1 million a year, you're not going to survive. That's what the feeling they give you today because everything is so expensive. So with $1 million, not that much money anymore. Especially if you don't have a God. So now, the amount of money people have has gone up drastically. The amount of successful people has gone up drastically. Every second guy is a young, successful guy. He's got a business, he's got an internet, on this. People don't even need to leave the house anymore to be successful. If HaShem wants them to be successful, they'll be successful. So, success has gone up drastically. That's business world. So if you're successful, doesn't mean anything. Why? 1 million before you and 1 million after you will be successful in business. It's not a big deal at all. But Torah scholars, Talmid Chacham, to be mamash considered a Talmid Chacham, always been a diamond. Always been rare in every single generation, including the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu, including the generation of Rabbi Akiva, including the generation of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, including the generation of the Rambam, including the generation of Rashi, including the generation of Rav Ovadia, including the generation of Magid Miduvna, all of them. Every generation to be Talmid Chacham, always a diamond, always rare. Real diamonds really not rare, by the way. They're just it's a false belief that diamonds are rare. They're completely not rare at all. It's a complete false illusions that deers made up to the world. There's more diamonds than there's sand. But if they told you that, then diamonds that are worth $20,000 will go down to nothing. But for the analogy purposes, you get the point. very, very rare to be Talmid Chacham. Very rare. You Talmid Chacham? Psh, wow. People kiss your hand. That's the Chacham. They ask for blessing. Somebody's sick, they go to you. Somebody needs an answer. Doesn't matter what the question is. Business, marriage, health, whatever it is. They go to the tzaddik. Why? Talmid Chacham. It's rare. In every generation. For people to say, that's Talmid Chacham. That's the tzaddik. That's him. Always been rare. In every single generation, every century. Always been rare. That's special. But yet, more people chase the abundance of what we have already, of successful businessmen, and very few chase to be the Talmid Chacham. Why? Because the Yetzer works on the Talmid Chacham, to stay away from him. Why? Go become a businessman. I'll give you $1 million. I'll give you $1 million. Just go away. Don't be a Talmid Chacham, especially if you have a brain. Especially if you have a brain, especially if you have an extra special neshama, don't be a Talmid Chacham. I'll go make you a millionaire. I'll go make you a millionaire. Go, go, go. Don't be a Talmid Chacham. Now, someone can have a brain, but be still considered Am Haaretz, meaning one of the commoners. Nothing. The Gemara in Masechet Pesachim says something very scary. It says Am Haaretz shouldn't be allowed, or really isn't allowed, to eat meat. He's not allowed to eat meat, meat meaning a cow. Not chicken is not really considered meat, by the way. According to the Torah, chicken is considered, poultry is not considered meat. But Chazal, the sages, made it into meat where you're not allowed to eat it with milk, with dairy, because it looks too much like meat. But in reality, it's not. Either way, we follow what the sages say. We're not allowed to eat it with cheese. But here in the Gemara Masechet Pesachim, the sages say specifically, Am Haaretz, ignorant, person is not Talmid Chacham, shouldn't be allowed to eat meat. Shouldn't be allowed. Why? Why not? What do you care if he eats meat, if he eats turkey, if he eats chicken, if he eats jelly beans? What do you care? Because no, if he's Am Haaretz, the cow is better than him. Cow is better than him. Why is the cow better than him? His skin. Why? Because he doesn't know Torah? Because yes. Why? The cow is better than him because the cow, what's his job in life? Do moo all day. Moo, moo, moo. Give some milk, moo, moo. Sometimes it's moo, really good. He's fulfilling his purpose in life. This cow is fulfilling, well, his job is to do moo. He does moo. He's fulfilling his purpose in life. What's his benefit? What's his schal for doing the moo all day? Eventually, some kosher Jew that's a tzaddik, that's Talmid Chacham, is going to slaughter him, sell him as kosher meat, say a blessing, the neshama of the cow becomes elevated. You Am Haaretz, so don't know anything. What are you going to do? You're probably not going to bless even. You're probably not even going to do a blessing. You're going to ruin him. Why? He doesn't deserve it. He's better than you. He's doing his job at least. That's Da'at Torah. This is what Torah feels. I know people are going to hate it. They're going to say, oh, you're too mean, it's not nice to say. That's what Torah says. Go argue with Chazal. What do you want from my life? It's not my opinion. That's what Chazal says. Gemara, Masechet Pesachim, page 49b. Source. You want to go complain? Go complain to God. What do I care? I didn't write it. This is what Torah says. That's the opinion of Torah about someone who doesn't learn Torah. And last but not least, we're going to finish like this. It says the following: V'im amalta b'Torah, V'im amalta b'Torah, yesh lo sachar harbe liten lach. But if you labored in Torah, you worked hard, the excuses you had, but you overcame them. The problems you had, but you overcame them. Distractions you had, overcame them. You found a way to learn Torah every day. Every day you learn Torah, but not 5 minutes like you're doing God a favor. You learn Torah every day. Morning and night, you learn an hour here, 2 hours here. You're learning. At least as much time as you are wasting, you're learning Torah. Yesh lo sachar b'liten lach. Yesh lo, meaning lo, God has a big reward to give you. God has a big reward to give you. So, Chazal explains this is not just a reward in Olam Haba. The real reward, by the way, for all of your mitzvot is Olam Haba. Chazal says that anything you get in this world is not really a reward. The Rambam specifically in Hilchot Tshuva talks about it. He says anything you get in this world, it's not a reward. It's not a reward that's the real reward. It's just a token to allow you to do more mitzvot. Meaning, if you give tzedakah, you give maaser, Hashem gives you more money. Why does He give you more money? So, oh, look at that. He likes to give away my money. So let me give Him more of it. He likes my mitzvah. Let me give Him as a reward for that mitzvah, as another mitzvah. So, because He likes to give away my money to tzaddikim, to people that learn Torah, to people that do tshuva, to people that help people do tshuva, and so on and so forth, let me give Him more money so He can do more mitzvot, so He can give away more of my money. Why? Hashem says, Liya kesef v'liya zahav, neum Hashem tzevot. Hashem says to the prophet, mine is the money, mine is the gold, says Hashem, master of legions. So, the money that He gives you is not really the reward. It's in essence a token of appreciation for the mitzvah you already did to enable you to do more mitzvot. Hashem says, oh, look, he found a wife. He wants to fulfill the mitzvah of marriage. Let me give him not only a wife, I'll give him kids. So now he can educate the kids. And he can fulfill the mitzvah. V'shinantem bam. You educated your kids with Torah. Oh, look, he's doing it with one kid. Let me give him another kid. And let me give him another kid, and so on and so forth. Look, He gives you the reward of children. Why? Not because you need kids, but you're able to fulfill mitzvah with the kids. And everything that He gives you is in order for you to fulfill a mitzvah. Why is it all connected to mitzvot? Because the Rambam says, anyone that thinks that Hashem could pay you a reward in this world for any of your mitzvot is a complete fool. This is language of the Rambam. Is a complete fool who does not understand mitzvot. Why? He says because the smallest mitzvah, whatever you think is the smallest mitzvah, we don't really know what's the big mitzvah or small mitzvah. The smallest mitzvah, the smallest one, all of the good in the world that ever existed, for every man that ever existed, from the beginning of time until the end of time, cannot be enough reward for the smallest mitzvah. So there's not enough money in the world to pay you for one mitzvah. You think He's going to pay you for tefillin, one of the big mitzvot? You think He's going to pay you for Shabbat, one of the big mitzvot? For shalom bayit, one of the big mitzvot that requires work every day, every night? Can't. It's not possible. He just gives you the ability to make more mitzvot. So Hashem Yitbarach has a lot to give you. Rabbi Meir says, "Im amalta b'Torah yesh lo sachar harbe leiten lach." So He has a big reward to give you, but it's not only in Olam Haba. He also give you a reward here. And Shlomo Melech says in the same book of Ecclesiastics, Kohelet, he says, enjoy the reward He gives you, even though it's not the purpose of life. Material is definitely not the purpose of life. If Hashem gives you ways to enjoy life, enjoy life. No problem. There's no problem with enjoying life. There's no problem with enjoying the good He gives you. Whether it's good weather, or good food, or good wife, or good kids, or money, or whatever it is. There's no problem with enjoying life. No problem at all. Shlomo Melech writes it. Smartest man of all time. No problem. The problem is when you make it priority. When you make your whole life about enjoying material. That's a problem. But here Rabbi Meir gives you a chidush, and he says the reward is not just in Olam Haba. It could also be here, in this world. Easier time to make money. Instead of working 9 to 5 like everyone else, you could potentially work 9 to 11. You work 2 hours a day, but Hashem sends you parnasai if you work for 8 hours. You have a job that you're there for 8 hours, but in reality it's a free time type of job. It's one of those jobs where you don't really have to do much, and you can read a Sefer Torah the whole day. Million countless ways that Hashem has the ability to make your parnasah that you're going to get easier to get. Why? So you have energy to learn Torah. So you have ability to learn Torah. The reward for your mitzvot can also be here. Or if, let's say, for example, there's a decree in Shamayim. Chas v'shalom, somebody's supposed to die. Somebody's supposed to get sick. Hashem says, yeah, technically that person deserves to get sick. that person deserves to get death penalty. That person deserves to get all types of bad things. But if they get it, it's going to disturb my son that's learning Torah. He's not going to learn Torah next week because he has to go to the Shiva. He's not going to learn Torah next week because he's going to be depressed. He's not going to learn Torah next week because he's going to have to work overtime because he's going to have to help him with money. No. His Torah is worth more to me. He's not going to get sick because he has to learn Torah. He's not going to get sick because he has to learn Torah. So Rabbi Meir says the reward is also in this world. This also answers the question of why sometimes you see Reshaim. People, mamash, everything against God they do. I don't think there's anything they do that's not against God. Even the mitzvot they do are not really good intention mitzvot. Like sometimes you see people that they try to run the joint, try to go to the Knesset once or twice a year, but they want to run the Knesset. Why? Because they have money. They want to throw money around. Like this one guy that showed up at the Knesset. The guy shows up to the Knesset once, twice, 3 times a year, but there's not one law that he follows. He kisses the Sefer Torah like he even knows what's inside it. He doesn't actually read what it says. Complete kofir. Nasty attitude, thinks he's running the world. And forget about it. I don't care if he keeps mitzvah or doesn't keep mitzvah. Just some people have bad nature, bad attitude, arrogant, and so on. I'm allergic to arrogance. So anyway, sometimes you have people like that, and you ask yourself, why does Hashem let this guy live? Why does Hashem let this guy live? Because Hashem is using him for 2 reasons. Hashem uses people like this for 2 reasons. Number one, if someone is that wicked, part of the punishment could be Hashem letting them live. A long time. Why? Why let a Rasha live such a long time? The Rambam says in Hilchot Tshuva, Hashem lets him live a long life so he can make more sins. So the punishment, the eventual punishment that comes, is even worse. That's how much of an enemy of Hashem he's become. Rambam says it's the worst possible punishment you can get in this world, where Hashem closes the Sharei Tshuva, closes the gates of heaven for Tshuva. He says, I'm going to let him live, not to do Tshuva. He's not going to be able to do Tshuva. I don't want his Tshuva. I want him to live longer. I'm going to let him live longer. Why? To make more sins. But he's still going to use him as a tool for the tzaddikim. Why? This guy's going to give tzedakah here and there. He's going to support a good Beit Knesset. He's going to support a Talmid Chacham. Unintentionally. Hashem's going to give him the reward for that mitzvah in this world. And he's going to sustain the world with this person. And let him live 90 years. But no olam haba. So that's why sometimes you see Reshaim live a long life. It's not because Hashem doesn't see or doesn't pay attention. It's that Hashem is using them as a tool, number one, to help the tzaddikim grow, and 2, to show us that what Shlomo HaMelech says, that sometimes the punishment would be a long life, or the Rambam says sometimes a long life, in order for Hashem to punish them extra. This is both in Ecclesiastics and the Rambam. So, I'll finalize it with this. In the Midrash Rabbah of Kohelet, it says, Rabbi Meir says this also. This same Rabbi Meir that everybody wants to celebrate, Rabbi Meir. This is what Rabbi Meir says. Rabbi Meir is not, he's not a Care Bear rabbi. So Rabbi Meir says the following. This is the scariest out of all the chidushim that I have. Rabbi Meir Baal says this. He was a talented sofer. He was a scribe. It's Sifrei Torah. And the Gemara says he used to make 3 selah per week. So let's say you call it $3,000 a week, or $300 a week, whatever you want to call it. 3 selah is a unit of money in those days. 3 selah a week. 1 selah he would use for himself to eat and drink. 1 selah he would use for shelter. House. Wife, house. And 1 selah, the last third, he would give to Avrechim. People learn Torah all day. Now the Avrechim came to him and said, Kvod Harav, what will be with your kids? You have kids. Why don't you give one selah for food and for you and your wife, no problem. One selah for shelter, no problem. But what about your kids? You have kids. Why don't you give them the last selah? Why are you giving it to us, avrechim? It's a very normal question. Most people, you tell them, oh, you give maaser, you give tzedakah. He goes, yeah, I give money to my kids. That's not maaser, by the way. I give money to my kids. Everybody thinks they give money to their kids. It's maaser. It's tzedakah. It's not tzedakah. You're obligated. Until a certain age. Until they can provide for themselves. But anyway, they ask Rabbi Meir, they say, Kvod Harav, yeah, even though they're already at the age where they can sustain themselves, but still, if you have extra, why don't you give it to your kids instead of giving it to the Aviceenus, giving it to us? So Rabbi Meir Balanes says the following. He says, if they're tzaddikim, then the verse that we say in Birkat HaMazon, at the end of Birkat HaMazon, David HaMelech wrote, Na hayiti gam zakanti v'lo ra'ayit tzaddik ne'ezav, v'zarov v'vekes lachem. I've been young, I've been old, and I've never seen a righteous person, begging, or his kids not having any food. So many words. If they're tzaddikim, Hashem will sustain them. But if they're not, why should I use my money to fund the enemies of God? Rabbi Meir Balanes. If they're tzaddikim, Hashem will provide for them. I don't need to give them any money. Hashem will provide for them. If they're reshayim, if they're not tzaddikim, why would I give money to the enemies of God? That's his words. Oive amakum. So he says, Midrash Rabbah. That's Rabbi Meir Balanes. So you see here, Rabbi Meir Balanes tells us things that are extraordinary. Things that we can live by, things that we can learn when people have all the excuses in the world not to learn Torah. But you learn from this shiur that if you want to do the will of Hashem, Torah has to be priority, everything else secondary. And if you do that, everything else that you want, Hashem will fulfill anyway. Hashem will fulfill anyway. So tomorrow, anyone that has an excuse of, oh, I can't come and I can't learn all night because I have work, hopefully by the time you get to the end of the shiur, you no longer have that excuse. You're trying to come up with a new excuse of what you're going to tell your boss of why you can't come in.